All right, and we are live. Thank you for joining us here on this Tuesday night. I am joined with honestly, probably my favorite person to do any kind of content creation collaborations with on social media, Saadia Mirza. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Desmond. I love everything that you do. I've been a fan since you started, so I appreciate you taking the time out this evening.
I mean, I honestly am glad that you are here because there are, quite a few people that I've tried to do this with recently. You're definitely at the top of my list for people that I wanted to do this with. So, having fun doing these Substack live conversations. We have four different topics we're going to talk about tonight. Couple things that are not so fun, and then something that I felt that was more positive. So, we're going to talk about Bernie Sanders and a few other Democrats introducing a universal health care bill in front of the Capitol today. We'll also be talking about Donald Trump imposing what looks to be martial law. Some people say it's not. It looks like it to me. We will also be talking about some of the shipping containers that are coming into our country that apparently don't really have much of anything on them. Seems some panic buying across the country, and also be talking about the fact that Amazon almost put some tariff prices on their goods on Amazon today until Trump had to talk to Bezos and tell him what he needed to hear. So we will talk about all of that. But first, Saadia, the good news was that Bernie Sanders and I think Representative Pramila Jayapal, as well as like almost 100 other Democrats, were in front of the Capitol today for like a conference. They wanted to reintroduce Medicare for all, universal health care. There was a huge gathering there today, but the thing that really bothered me about it is that not too many people were actually covering this. I feel like I was like scrolling through, trying to
Mm.
find other people talking about it, trying to find news outlets that were covering it. Very sparse. Almost no one was actually talking about the fact that Bernie Sanders was introducing universal health care. Again, something that, if we just go back a few months, right, it seems like it was the topic of discussion basically everywhere for weeks after the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO by Luigi Mangione, allegedly. So,
I was gonna say
allegedly.
heavy on the allegedly.
Yes. So, what was your reaction when you came across this? Do you think that we can actually get this conversation rolling again to where it was at like a few years ago, or do you think that too many people kind of like moved on from the conversation of universal health care?
So I don't want to bring your. I know this was supposed to be the non-doom part of the
Right.
conversation, but just like you, I had not seen it actually until you brought it up. I didn't even
Yeah.
know that he had introduced it. And the problem is because they're flooding the zone, right? And
Yeah.
people are worried about where their paychecks coming from, if they're even going to have Medicare. Like I think because we are so like looking off the cliff right now, we can't even look and see what's on the hill, and that's I feel like why it did not get coverage. There's just so much day to day that people can't keep up with.
Yeah.
And I personally would be excited to have this conversation, but also there's a part of me that knows that we're not going to have the momentum. We had a momentum, like you're saying, we had a conversation going. We don't have that momentum right now. So as much as I applaud Bernie Sanders and these 100 other Democrats for doing what they're supposed to do, and getting things to the desks that need to be. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, and that's gonna be my frustration until the midterms because we are screwed till then to even be able to stop anything essentially. And I say
No.
we like I'm a Democrat, but I'm not. I would say whatever left is.
Right. It's kind of a convoluted thing anymore. I mean,
Yeah,
so I don't blame you there. I would say this. I have been, and I think everyone to a degree who is on the political left, or the American political left, has been asking for people to do something to provide some kind of hope, to provide some
correct,
kind of direction forward. And for me, I can't see any direction forward that does not include universal health care.
sure,
So are we in a position right now to actually enact this? Even if like say you pie in the sky, you retake the House, retake the Senate, you take the presidency in 2028. Are we in that political climate right now? I'm not sure, but I know that we can't actually get there
yeah,
until we start laying the groundwork here. And I think Bernie and some, and plenty of others as well are kind of seeing that if we are ever going to get to that point, you got to start just laying the groundwork ahead of time. You have to have the conversations ahead
I
of
agree,
time. Getting 100 Congress members to show up and sign off on this, that is much more than they've had in the past.
correct,
So I find this to be incredibly hopeful. Obviously, it's just the first step. You have to essentially get this conversation to be everywhere in the political zeitgeist right now in order for it to actually get any kind of traction whatsoever. So, yeah, I think it's very necessary. And as we've talked about this before. I mean, every country that's basically that's developed in some way has universal health care. There are like what I think it was like 70 of them across the
Yes,
around the world who have universal health care. So there's no reason why we can't have it. And I think that the conversations that we see against it just really never make any sense to me. I'm always very skeptical of, especially Democrats who try to talk about why we can't have universal health care. Like they are major red flags to me whenever I hear that from people
correct.
in our own party.
Oh, I agree. I feel like anybody that was pushing back against that right now, like I said, it's just like I always explain it like the election was going to go two ways. Five houses are on fire. If we get Harris, two houses are on fire, three are put
Yeah,
out. If we get where we are at now, not only is the whole house on fire, all five, the rest of the neighborhood is as well. So I
right.
think that it's good that they're continuing the conversation, but I think because there's just so much going on right now
Yeah,
with cuts, and they're just literally taking a sledgehammer to the government right now.
right.
I feel like that's why it doesn't get so much coverage, because all it's going to take is one more hit, and that conversation won't be happening for the next 10 to 20 years.
No, I agree, and it's one of those things where it's like you have to kind of like stabilize where we're at right now before we can go forward. But I think at the same time you have to be looking forward as well while you're trying to make sure that
100%.
there is a government left over. And for everyone who's watching right now, you can go ahead and click at the top of the screen. Make sure you're following Saadia on here. She's kind of new to Substack, but her platform is absolutely great everywhere else that she's been. So I'm sure that once she starts getting on Substack more, it'll be better on here too. She's got to post on
I'm
here a little
taking
bit
your lead
more.
on this.
Yeah, just yeah. So unfortunately though, not all good news today. We are seeing plenty of bad things here with the Trump regime because, well, it's Trump, right? So martial law is coming to America, apparently. From the looks of it, I actually saw another creator post about this earlier today. Eliza Orleans had posted her video about what exactly this new executive order does and how it breaks down and what we could probably expect from it going forward. It looks like they are looking to ask for more aggressive policing as well as military intervention in some cases in some of these cities across America. Having the military in different cities across America is just absolutely abhorrent to me for so many different reasons. But they're also looking to make sure these police are just not having to worry about being extra aggressive, so that if they have any kind of like cases brought against them, the federal government will make sure that they're completely taken care of. They're also talking about how if elected officials in local jurisdictions, so even like your local city councilors or your mayors or state legislators, if they defy anything that involves like this new criminal justice approach of the Trump administration, that they could be held liable for prosecution.
Yeah.
So it is honestly a terrifying like mobilization. And I honestly don't, I haven't really come to terms with what it actually means just yet. But when you came across the story, what was your first like thoughts when you heard it?
Testing the water. Just like they've been doing with, first they're like, oh, they're just deporting these types of people, or they're deporting. I'm like, they're working their way up. And oh, I'm so sorry. Did it disconnect?
No.
Okay, I'm just going to keep talking. It's saying that it's not connected, but that is my fear currently, is that everything that they do is all part of a plan. Is to see how far they're going to get. So this not martial law that he's enacting is within 90 days, right? And
Yeah.
there is a law. It's like it's two words. Starts with C, oh my goodness, and basically it's basically saying that you can't do this, you can't use I forget what it is. I can actually we can look it up on the side here. That's why I
Yeah.
pulled my laptop out. But I feel like this is just a check to see how far they can push it, to see how far they can go without somebody checks them. And to be completely fair, they've been able to get everything done that they've wanted pretty much. Even now, we still have people, US citizens, that have been deported. We're having
Yeah.
2 year olds with cancer that are deported. We have a mother, a Cuban mother, who was separated from her 1 year old breastfeeding daughter today. Uh, they're testing everything that they can, and they're hoping that it gets the legal system so wound up that they won't have the time to go through these cases and just keep ramming things through. There is nothing that Project 2025 does not have already covered. We have their manual.
Right.
So this is all part of their way to get full authoritarianism going here in America.
Yeah, and I think we've heard like different accounts of this before in the past, where there were actually people in Trump's first administration that were kind of keeping him from going like completely off the rails. He made sure that all of those people wouldn't be in his new administration this time around, and we are seeing the results of that because it's exactly what you're saying, the whole like testing the waters thing, right? In every facet of whether it's like giving Elon Musk access to the Treasury, or arresting a judge, or deporting people without giving them their day in court. Everywhere that you turn, Trump is pushing the legal limit, defying the Supreme Court, being like, "Yeah, I don't care what your ruling is. I'm just not going to do it anyway. What are you going to do about it?" And now, when people talk about like the phrase like a constitutional crisis, it seems hyperbolic when you say something like that, but this is what it looks like. Like when the normal guardrails that are supposed to be up, that are supposed to keep someone like the president of the United States in check, are just openly defied, where he just like openly, brazenly breaks the law, and no one does anything about it because about it are completely under his thumb too. So what is the actual thing that's supposed to happen next here? I mean, like we can talk about, I mean, like calling your senators and protesting in the street, but like we are in a dangerous place right now. Let's just call it what it is.
Earlier today, I don't know if you caught it, but there was an article that I just briefly read because I got home a little late, literally right before this. I read an article, or I just skimmed it, basically saying that Carolyn Levitt said basically is leaving the door open to being able to go after the Supreme Court justices. Like that's not how checks and balances work. You can't check it till it's your balance. Like that's essentially what they're trying to do. And
Yeah.
because we've had what's her face, The Handmaid's Tale. What's her name?
Oh, I mean, there's a few of them would fall into this category.
No. Who's the lady that he had? It just slipped my name. The woman that he put on the Supreme Court. That
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Oh my God, I'm forgetting her name too.
what is it? You guys know who it is? Like Serena Joy. What's her name? Basically, no. So basically, she. Oh my God, what is her name?
I will think of her name. Keep going.
Yeah. So she has been
It's Amy
voting.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Barrett, thank you very much. Yes, Coney Barrett. Yes. So because she's not voting, I think this is directed towards her because she's
Yeah.
not 100% voting with what Trump is requesting. And so this is Trump's way of saying, if you're not going to stay in line, even if I put you in power, I'm going to take you out real quick. And this is, I think a lot of us were sounding these alarm bells like back in last summer or so. We were saying like these things are this is what he's going to do. It's going to be very, I know people are tired of hearing it, North Korea style, but this is what he wants. He wants a military parade. He wants to
Yeah.
have a military parade for his birthday. This is not a shock to me at all. Going after judges, and then he's got his Lindsey Graham's and everybody backing him is not a surprise. I mean, today there was a joke. I know he was just in jest saying, Trump was saying, oh, I should be the next pope. And Lindsey Graham, I mean, the guy spends his whole life in knee pads, I guess, because he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm all for it." Like, I'm so sorry. Yeah, he wanted little mustache man's generals, but like Lindsey Graham just ate that shit up, and I was just like, it's not a joke anymore. I hope when people
Yeah.
know when he says those things, he's not. That's a projection of a narcissist, and so
Yeah.
when he's saying something, I need people to know he's not saying it just to be funny. He's saying it because he means it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in the past, when he was saying all these things, people weren't taking him seriously. I think, behind the scenes, there were some people still behind who were able to check him to a degree, to check his ego, check like some of the more crazy things he wanted to do. I mean, he talked about some of the military in the streets during, the Black Lives Matter protests in 2020, but apparently he was talked out of it by the people in his administration. Again, all of
Correct.
those people gone now, all of them. And we are going to, I think, see a deterioration of everything that we thought would be normal as far as how the executive branch operates. Even under Trump, I mean, his second term is dramatically worse than his first term so far. It's only been 100 days. So like I
Yeah.
am truthfully worried about what comes next. I mean, I think for me, when I'm advising people about the best ways to kind of navigate this time is just continue to just like share information with each other, continue to stay in community with each other, because
Correct.
there really is it can only be worse in isolation. You know,
One
we
hundred
I think
percent.
we all feel more helpless, more powerless when we're trying to deal with these things in our own homes, not really talking to each other, not talking to friends or family about it. And I think to a degree, and I'm really bothered by this. There's way too much normalization of this going on. Like
Yes,
there are
correct.
so many people who are just going about their everyday lives, and they're actually talking about politics less now than they were during the first Trump administration. And I cannot fathom that. I really can't. It's so much dramatically worse than what it was the first time around, Saadia.
But they weren't paying attention the first time around. They just think it's the same crazy from before. But we know
Yeah,
that they didn't control all three houses. They've got all three houses. Then we've got the Fettermans doing their shit. We've got Democrats approving some of his nominees, like not holding up any of the process. Some of the very ones that stood up and spoke for hours on end, and then they're doing these things. And so it almost feels like we have nobody up to bat for us. So when
yeah,
David Hogg gets up there and says we're going to primary people who aren't doing their job, that's the only you guys cause more of a fuss about that than you did than you did in even supporting whatever Trump is doing. You guys just sure checked off on it, but David Hogg, oh, now he's a problem, not the guy who literally wants parades for himself, and you guys are going to be installing the next people to make that happen. Okay.
yeah. What was actually your reaction to that? Because I saw a lot of people getting mad at David Hogg for going
No,
after these Democrats. Like, what was your first thought? Were you like happy about this? Or were you saying like, oh, bad timing, or where were you at?
no, I think great timing. A bad
Yeah,
timing would be right before an election and being like, now it's the time to break things up. That's bad timing. This is,
yeah,
if you're not going to do your job, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. So you got a 2 year heads up, or
right.
some of y'all a year, depending on what. And if you're not going to do your job, that is what it is. I will tell you one thing. I am jealous of the rights pipeline, right? Like all you
Yeah,
got to do is drink the Kool-Aid, and from the time you're in college and you can like form a semi-coherent sentence, they're going to then get you into a congressional seat, then they're going to get you into a cabinet seat. They have a pipeline. We do not have that, and that's because we have gatekeepers. And I am
yes,
tired of these damn gatekeepers, and I'm proud of the fact that David Hogg, who unfortunately, I don't know if this would have been his calling in life had he not gone through the tragedy that he went through of a
right.
school shooting, that he survived. Thank goodness the people that are actually affected by our day to day politics, our day to day happenings, that they're starting to say, these are our seats. These aren't for people who just are here for their image. I'm happy that
Yeah.
David Hogg did that. And if you're the one that's okay with everything, just know that we lose elections because of this kind of behavior.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, David Hogg, he is currently the vice chair of the DNC. I think he was survivor of the Parkland shooting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So he came out recently and said that he was going to spend about $20 million primarying Democrats who are in safe seats, just essentially try to shake the party up, get some people out that aren't being as effective, aren't meeting this moment. And as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what we need right now. I mean,
Yep.
there are so many okay, let me be fair but for a quick second here. There have been more Democrats stepping up recently. There have been more Democrats making their
Correct.
voices heard, doing town halls, doing demonstrations. Don't get me
Yep.
wrong, but if we were to count them out in our hands right now, it'd probably be about 20 or 25 of them. There's about 250 of them in Congress between the House and the Senate. So it is kind of deafening in comparison to
Correct.
what we are witnessing from Trump. Like you would think it'd be all hands on deck, constant disruption, constant talking about what Trump is doing. And yet, in a lot of ways, it almost feels like they're playing politics as usual. And
Correct.
I can't fathom that. I really can't. Like, because again, this news cycle is dramatically worse than what it was the first time around. So all of these Democrats that are treating this as business as usual, they got to go.
Yeah.
They got to go.
People that approved RFK. We're sitting here, we have bird flu at our door. We don't even know what's going on. We've got the FDA. Like if you allowed any
An
if you were the
autism registry.
an autism registry, which can
Yeah.
be like the reasons for that happening are terrifying no matter how you look at it. By the way,
Right.
Hope Matters has like I don't know who Hope Matters is, but is leaving some fire feedback. But
Oh, appreciate you, Hope Matters.
um I I I I hope they know we don't forget the people that held the doors open for fascists and closed the doors for those against fascism.
Mm.
You're just as bad and you will lose your job.
And they should lose their job. So one of the other things we wanted to talk about was some like the panic buying going on today. You kind of brought this to my attention. I didn't see this until you brought this to me. So now we get to kind of like exchange that moment here. So what exactly was going on that you saw earlier today when it comes to people, I guess, panic buying across the country right now?
Yeah, so I got some videos out of Michigan. I guess there were some eggs out in that area. I know down here in Houston, I had people calling me earlier today, like, "Hey, I live on the outs. There's Houston, and then like Houston's just 45 minutes away from Houston, so I'm on the 30-minute side. I'm not all the way on the 40-minute side. Like, do you guys on your side of Houston? Do you guys have toilet paper? I'm like, God damn it, are we going to do this toilet paper? Do you guys not like invest in bidets? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's a bidet is the way. Like, can we just, as a South Asian person, a bidet is the way. Just it's gonna be great for y'all
It'll
and your
change your
butts.
life.
It will change your life. But we're still stuck on this toilet paper thing. So toilet paper was
Yeah,
out downtown. There was like a few smaller things. My friend has a baby, and so she was asking about some diaper stuff. I don't know about diaper stuff, and so I was like, out here we still have it, and that's why I tell people. Somebody said, as a Muslim, I cannot relate to the toilet paper. I'm so sorry. I need to not. I got derailed, but basically, there's going to be a lot of shortages coming up.
yeah,
Even if tomorrow Trump wakes up, and this is, I'm telling you guys this now, as somebody who's been with a broker version of Trump and a little less orange, my ex-husband, I will tell you, they tell you what they're going to do, and then they do it. But then when they realize they're in deep shit, the night before the big thing is going to happen, they back out because they're
yeah,
cowards. At the end of the day, they're spineless cowards. So at some point, this guy is going to back out of this. And it's going to be bad because China is not going to let him back out of it that easy.
yeah,
No matter what happens right now, if even if he was to stop it today and the ports started, anticipating ships from China tomorrow, it's going to take 35 to 40 days for things to come here, get unloaded. We're going to have shortages of things. And that's why I tell people, please don't panic buy. When you're going to the grocery store, what I've been doing since December, because you and I both talked about, we knew what was going to happen.
yeah,
I bought an extra little pack of toilet paper. I bought a little extra couple of packs of paper towels. You don't need 6 months worth of paper towels. There are people with families. There are people that will need those things. So don't hoard them. Be prepared in your house. Have a few extra things, batteries, Neosporin, cold medicines, especially your medications, but you don't need 5 bottles of NyQuil. If you do, you might be from Houston. You might be on the scissor, but but there is no need to have 5 bottles of NyQuil. So
yeah.
that the panic buying, and I know people are scared. We had COVID last time this orange shithead was in charge, but let's not ruin it for our neighbors when this is a moment that we all need to be here for each other.
It is. It is really like it's hard for me to know what's going to happen next or what we can really expect for how long these tariffs are going to be in place or how long all of the tension is going to be with this weird trade war that seems like a more nothing more than just Trump trying to create a new like ego play for himself. But like you were saying, in the meantime, while we are dealing with this, it's just really important that everyone just be as cautious as humanly possible, be as considerate as humanly possible, because everyone is kind of upset right now. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to. I'm struggling a little bit, Saadia, because there's a part of me that wants to say like, hey, like there's half the country kind of voted for this, and at the same time, I also feel I think bad for these people sometimes. But like, it's just
Who do you feel
it's
bad for?
the ones that are manipulated by the right wing propaganda machine that legitimately don't know better, like those people. Because I think I talked about people about this before. Where I feel like there are people who are truly, like they know what's going on and they just don't care, or they embrace MAGA and everything that it means. And I think there are people that truthfully are just very apolitical. They don't pay attention to politics at all. But when they do, they kind of get sucked up in the right wing propaganda machine that truthfully does invest billions of dollars into manipulating millions of people every single year. And I do think it's a really pervasive and powerful thing that we all have to unfortunately deal with the repercussions of. And so I do think that some people kind of get caught up in it and they truly don't know better. And I guess a part of me feels a little bit of sympathy for them because I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of people who just get caught up in that. But I feel
Nor
like you might not feel the same.
I don't anymore. I used to,
Yeah,
and now like I live in Trump. I'm in a small blue dot, not small, a big blue dot that
yeah,
Abbott constantly wants to punish. We don't even have Houston doesn't even have representation until November. So through the hurricane seasons, through all the stuff that we're about to
yeah,
go through, we're gonna have no representation down here because he pushed our Houston's vote off. Do I have sympathy for people that are okay with that? No. Do I have
yeah,
sympathy for people who see other people living in the same area as not as not good enough or deserving of this because of where we live.
Yeah.
I used to. I don't feel so bad anymore. We have Chat GPT. You have the internet. You don't have like back in the teabagger days, back when like there was this like weird teabag fringe, right? Back when I was in school, people used to
Yeah.
think, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm like, oh, this you guys should read about Jonestown. This sounds very Jonestowny. And I do know that when Trump passes, hopefully sooner than later, like a lot fucking sooner than later. Um, I know that when he passes, that cults don't just move from one dear leader on to the next.
Mm.
The spell will break at that point. There's no like transfer of power. He is the only reason. He is their Trojan horse. He is the Republicans. Everything right
Idol.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once the idol is gone, I think that half our battle will be won right there. That's when people will probably start listening. Until this, while this guy is still here and they think of him as a godlike figure, I don't think that I don't feel bad for them because they're choosing to idolize someone rather than think for themselves.
I am also thinking that you're correct about this as far as like once Trump is not in the picture anymore, that the kind of the spell will break to a degree because we kind of got a preview of that already, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we weren't sure if he was going to be, like if he was going to be eligible to be the next president of the United States, and there was Ron DeSantis and Chris Christie and Vivek Ramaswamy, and it looked pretty pathetic. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't. None of them really had any kind of charisma. I don't think that any of them could have won a general election. So yeah, I do think the future is bright, but who knows how long Trump will be in power for? I mean, he's already trying to run again in 2028, as we've already seen, selling the hats, selling the merch, putting his minions out there talking about how he might try to find a way to circumvent the 22nd Amendment, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we could have another Trump administration right after this one if we are not too careful. And I don't put anything past him at this point. I would have thought that would have been a hyperbolic thing to say a few months ago, but I don't feel that anymore. I mean, in fact, I think everything that Trump says needs to be taken seriously now.
Oh, 100%. But there's a reason that he's hawking these hats now. And I made a small video about it. He didn't wait for a long time because he knows he's not going to be able to sell them in 6 months. His approval rating, even with his own minions, is so low. He's not going to make
Mm,
money off of 2028 hats in even 2026. I
yeah.
think what he's doing is a cash grab right now. He too, even though he's a total narcissist, he too knows where his popularity lies. He couldn't even there were his arena for some reason, even though he's already elected, he had I guess a rally today because that's what clans do, I guess. Clans in a clan. I don't even you already won. Like I don't understand. So, you
Yeah.
can't even fill out those teeny tiny arenas. He's not an idiot. And I know you and I
Yeah.
may differ on this. I do not believe that he legitimately won all seven swing states.
Hmm.
And 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 I think because of that, that's why he's trying to inflate his ego with these rallies. Just same thing my ex used to do. He would get caught, but let me show you that, I have $100 in my bank account, even though I probably borrowed it from my friend, the day before to make me look better. That's what I feel like this is. Yes, it's testing the waters, but he's selling it now because he knows
Right.
he's not going to gain that popularity. There's no way he's gaining in the next 2, 3 years.
Trump is the consummate narcissist. Anything that he can do to inflate his ego, he will do. I mean, we saw him post a video of himself where he was going to build a golden statue of himself in a forcibly displaced Gaza after he goes in and annexes the territory and rebuilds casinos and, again, giant effigies of himself. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's who he is, and kind of leads us to his trade war again, which is completely just another like testament to his ego. And now Amazon was today trying to, I guess, put like a tariff price next to things on their website, and then immediately like they kind of like backed down. Jeff Bezos backed down and said that they weren't going to do that. We weren't going to actually kind of like embarrass Trump like that. Apparently, Trump got on the phone with him and talked to him and said that he was a great guy. He understands exactly what's going on. We fixed the problem already. I was having this conversation yesterday, though, Saadia, with somebody else, and I was saying that one of the greatest things we could probably do in this moment is do something exactly like that, where we kind of just like have companies put original price here and then price because of Trump's tariffs here, and just put him on blast everywhere. I I mean, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I mean, you talk about like them being afraid of Trump, but I gotta say, I feel like the billionaire class probably has more power collectively together than he does, or maybe we're about to find that out. What do you think?
They're the biggest, most beautifulest tariff. Tariffs are big and beautiful. Show us. I keep telling people, show me how big and beautiful it is. I want to see the ticker. China's paying
Yeah,
for it, right? You said China. Show me the price that China's paying, or am I paying for it? That's why he doesn't want that out there. He keeps thinking that we live in 1956 or 1960 when he was cognizant and moving around and doing things. And
yeah,
I sincerely believe he has a form of dementia. My grandmother had dementia. And
yeah,
we are being led by somebody who is stuck in a time that he's yearning for, along with his racism. And I just feel like he is, I think he's going to back out, to be completely honest, and he's going to be stuck because China's not going to let him back out like that. I think that the phone call that he had with Bezos proved that to me today. You think that a simple phone call to Bezos, just don't put that ticker there. You just think that a guy is willing to lose his entire billions and billions just because Trump made a phone call? Obviously, something internally he knows that we don't know, and maybe I'm just reading into it too much. But somebody like Jeff Bezos, who is also paid his way to be where he's at in power as an oligarch today, I don't think
yeah.
that a simple phone call without any action was what he was going for. That's why I tell people don't panic buy. That's why I'm saying just be prepared for a few weeks, maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks. That is the reasoning behind it. I don't want to give people false hope though, because this could go on longer. But that's how I feel personally. I could be completely wrong.
I mean, I feel something similar because at the end of the day, I've always believed a really simple formula, which is the fact that the Republicans, at the end of the day, no matter who they are, including Trump, that they are there in the government at the behest of the billionaire class. And so it is really hard for me to imagine that they are going to long term hurt billionaire profits. I cannot imagine it. I mean, I guess we'll all see, but I can't see a scenario in where Trump is going to knowingly like degrade the stock prices of all of these people over the long period of time. Like we saw a short version of that not too long ago, but part of me thinks that that's not the worst case for them anyway because they can just buy things on the cheap. But I think a prolonged version of that is something that we definitely probably wouldn't see, or at least again, like you, I just don't think it'll happen. But I guess time will tell, right? Because we are in the midst of it now. We are seeing that automakers like Nissan and Subaru are now like pulling out their factories out of America. We are seeing, China saying that they're not going to stop sending so many like shipping containers over here to America. So I think there was like semiconductor chip manufacturers are now like no longer to be building the factories that they said they were going to be building here. So we're in a tough place right now. I really don't know where exactly we're going to go next, but I'm definitely going to be keeping good track of it and talking about it as much as I possibly can because we are all kind of like, I think a lot of people in America are living paycheck to paycheck. So these things matter more than they ever have. I mean, the price of
Yeah.
everything is about to go up.
Yeah, we're about to be living in Hawaii prices without the Hawaii part, and that's the shitty part. I don't know if you saw, there are some. I believe that there are some members of Congress tomorrow that will be going to challenge the tariffs and say, I think it's
Yes.
Rand
Rand
Paul,
Paul,
like
if
that's
nothing,
heading
he's
this.
consistent. I mean, he's not a great person, but he's consistent on like a couple issues. So this happens to be one of them. He seems like one of like two Republicans who's not afraid to actually challenge Trump. Well, I guess three if Mitch McConnell still counts.
No, Mitch McConnell's a corpse.
So,
Is a turtle's corpse, and he's trying to. He probably saw. I know sometimes people are getting impressed with his last second like votes that he's doing, and I'm
yeah,
like, the guy just saw the claw of death. You think that he doesn't know where he's going? The guy literally is like, shit. I better get myself out of this. It's too late, my friend. You can do the good votes, but you're still going straight to hell.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's basically like McConnell's, ghost, Rand Paul, Thomas Massie, the Kentucky guys. Actually, it's
Yeah,
basically just them. So
right.
yeah,
His
uh,
ghost.
I mean, what's left of him? Let's just be honest here. Saadia, thank you so much for coming on today. This has actually been a really good time. Again, if anyone is, for everyone who's still here, please make sure that you are following. Up at the top of the screen, you can go ahead and click that right now. You can make sure you're following Saadia on Substack. I want to try to convince her to do more content over here, so hit the follow button. try to get Saadia more in the Substack sphere here. So, and hopefully we can have you back on and do this again in the future.
Of course, I love talking to you. You're one of my favorites, and I love collabing with you. And your platform is amazing. I believe in.
Thank
I
you.
think your politics and my politics are usually like neck and neck, which is rare to find. So thank you for all that you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate it. And the same goes to you. For those who don't know, like I met Saadia a couple years ago now, collaborate with different posts all the time on Instagram. Her account, if you're on Instagram, definitely follow her on Instagram. My favorite account to follow on Instagram. In fact, her posts go like right to the top of my feed every time I log in. It's not an exaggeration. So
Sorry.
we'll be it's really every time. But no, we will be having more of these conversations in the not too distant future. I'll be having another one definitely on Friday, possibly a couple more next week as well. So I'm kind of just keep lining these up. As I know that they'll be coming, I'll let you guys know. So make sure that you're subscribed to me as well so that you don't miss any future notifications. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye, y'all.